Okay, so welcome to the review aspect for the activity planner and talking about intentional teaching. This first section is going to be talking about when did the activity take place and why we want to have that information in our reflective practice. With a good reflective practice, it's always helpful to understand where you started and where you ended. So when we have observations, the time and date is up in the top right-hand corner. When we run activities and we're reflecting backwards, we're doing the exact same thing. A reflective practice is, in my opinion, vital for creating a really solid intentional teaching practice. We naturally do this throughout our day is we look at the things that work and we look at the things that don't work, and we try to problem solve those things that don't go as smoothly as we would like them to. And having a review of your activity plan, that is a formalized way to be able to take that look and do a little bit of a deep dive into different categories to have that information readily available and hopefully have this as a way to be able to make some tweaks to the plan that we've already done. So why do we do this? Why do we record this aspect of the activity plan of when and where it took place? It is so we can, if we're going back and we're reviewing it, we'll know how long it's been since it's been done. Or it could be that you've handed this over to someone else and they can look and see how long it's been since the children have participated in this activity to see if maybe you want to change it up a little bit. Also, in that reflective practice, it could let you know the context of what was happening. Did you try to do a yoga activity on a rainy day after the children had been indoors all day long and they really needed something bigger of jumping up and down and big, heavy, gross motor movement as opposed to very refined, systematic, slower paced of a yoga activity? Or did it run great because it had been a rainy day and you used this way to kind of organize the children's activity and energy inside of their body? So having that understanding can be very helpful during your reflective practice. And it can also support other people in understanding when a good time might be to run this practice. If your activity plans are collective and people share them and they go in and they pull them out of different theme or topic boxes, this can help them decide, okay, when is a good time to run this and where in our particular building would this be most effective? Okay, so moving on to an example of how we want to have this. These examples, all of them are going to be very good because it's very factual information. This was the 2nd of December. It was in the Rabbits classroom at Rainbow Nursery. Okay, very easy, simply done. The next ones also are the same. This one was a little bit less information. It was simply the date and the time that it happened. And then the last one was the date and time it happened and which classroom it happened in, and then also what part of the classroom that it happened in. So that can also be very helpful if you are in the same classroom year over year of what part of that room was used and most suitable for the activity. Okay, some final thoughts in wrapping up of this part of our practice for reflecting on our activity plans is that this is the baseline. You want to know when this happened. I have sometimes gone back and reviewed activity plans and gone, when did I do that? So it can be very helpful of understanding when you've done it. And if it's been a long time, you're like, oh, you know what? The children have changed. I might need to tweak this from what I initially had planned in this. Or if you're running it again a week later, it might be that you want to take a look at the context that it was run in, and that might give you a little bit more information. So again, going back to those reasons why is important on filling out this information. It doesn't need to be greatly detailed. It can be helpful if you say that if it was in your gross motor room and what part of the gross motor room that it was in, that can also be very helpful information for when you're recreating it. I have a pretty good memory, but I don't always remember when it comes to activities that were done, a month or so ago. I may not remember exactly what was happening in the space at that time. So next steps that we're going to go through is we're going to go through each section of the reflective practice and do the same thing that we've done for the activity plans of really defining why we do this and giving some examples on what are really good explanations and what are not so good explanations to hopefully support you in creating a reflective practice, not only on things that you're doing when you're in the moment, but also things that are happening intentionally.